Mandating vaccines like this, like they're doing in France, to enable them to open up is a very sensible approach. The federal government is paying compensation to hundreds of Australians who have vaccine injuries from the COVID jab. If you're a customer going into a store, you want to know that the people working there are vaccinated. Some of the COVID injuries include life-altering heart inflammation. If you're in a restaurant, you want to know that the people sitting alongside you, breathing in the same air as you, have also been vaccinated, damaged capillaries and autoimmune disorders. And I hope my company, News Corp, mandates vaccines for employees. There are also thousands who've applied for compensation and are waiting to hear back. Joining me now to discuss is former Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Nick Coatsworth. Nick, great to see you.
You know, I suspect the majority of Australians will get vaccinated, and there will be a strong public view that those who choose not to get vaccinated need to. There needs to be some sort of incentive stick, perhaps, through the current programs, including No Jab, No Pay. And we need to crack on and get those claims assessed. There's no reason in 2023 that we shouldn't have that all done.
Yeah, and there are thousands who say that they are waiting to hear whether their request for compensation has been approved. Mandating vaccines is a very sensible approach.
It's becoming harder to convince a pandemic-weary public to roll up yet again. Health experts insist the fourth jab will save lives, and there's plenty of vaccine available at doctors, pharmacies and hubs.
All I did was go and take a vaccine.
Now Chris Nemeth is fighting for justice.
I couldn't walk, I couldn't work.
The once healthy 49-year-old became wheelchair-bound after developing a chronic neurological disorder called CIDP. He says the symptoms began 2 weeks after having his first AstraZeneca vaccination. As for which brand is best,
whichever vaccine you can get hold of, that is the vaccine to get.
They included headaches, tingling fingers, facial palsy and stolen mobility.
I was paralysed completely from the waist down.
Authorities urging the 30% of Australians who haven't had a third jab to act now. He's one of more than 3,000 unlucky Australians maintaining COVID vaccines made them ill.
Do so right away, because the 2 doses is not enough for this Omicron wave.
We've just had a settlement of $2.2 million for a very deserving applicant.
Tanya Nielsen is helping 100 injured Australians claim for rare but recognised vaccine side effects. Scientists are working on a blanket immunisation to cover all COVID strains. Until then, we may need further boosters. So far, the claims scheme has paid 147 people $7.7 million, with more than 2,000 applications in progress. The scheme closes early next year. Jackie Quist, 7 News.
I'm not anti-vaccines just because I want safe vaccines. And I think everybody wants safe vaccines. And as we all now recognize, the COVID vaccines were neither safe nor effective. You look at the countries that did not vaccinate, they had the lowest death rates, they had the lowest COVID and infection rates. And if you look at the Johns Hopkins data, which is the data everybody relies on, there's a direct correlation between excess deaths in nations, in the Western nations, that heavily vaccinated and the level of COVID vaccination. Science is rarely static. There are very few scientific principles that are immovable.
We should note that during our conversation, Kennedy made false claims about the COVID-19 vaccines. We've used our editorial judgment in not including extended portions of that exchange.
If I needed to see my family and I was vaccinated and boosted and the people that I were going to were vaccinated and boosted, I would not hesitate to go visit them. Right now, the easiest way to turn this thing around is to get as many people vaccinated as you possibly can. It's conceivable that if we don't get control of that and don't get a lot more people vaccinated, that there will be a variant that will occur that might even negatively impact the vaccinated people because it may elude the protection of the vaccine.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, once again, and as always, we thank you so much for your time and your insight.
No, I don't trust authority. I need to see the details. I need to see the science.
We've used our editorial judgment in not including extended portions of that exchange in our interview. We thank Mr. Kennedy for the conversation.
And Craig Kelly joins us now in Canberra. Craig, good morning to you.
Yeah, good to be with you.
Craig, we have seen deaths from COVID. We've seen sickness. We've seen mass job losses, hundreds of billions of dollars spent in government stimulus. All our hopes are riding on a vaccine. You need to be quiet.
I see the results. I get it. I know that the statistics are small with the people who are getting blood clots. But I say, well, hang on a second. Let's wait until some of the results, more of the results come out of Europe.
All right, let's do this. Just relax your arm.
Can you roll up your sleeve for me? Stay nice and relaxed. Hold on to that, Carl. There's a 15-minute recovery after the injection.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm going to make this revelation on national TV.
Here we go.
Which people, you can say whatever you want, but I've had my fill of vaccines. Like, I know it's irresponsible and I shouldn't be saying it, but I don't want any more. Adults across the country are today eligible for a 5th COVID booster shot. The recommendation is for those who have not had a booster shot in the past 6 months or a COVID infection. Let's bring in today medical expert Dr. Nick Coatsworth. Doc, good morning to you. No, I'm not a glowing ambassador for more than 2 shots. I've just decided that I've had COVID a couple of times and I'm done with the vaccine.